Ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've all been waiting for is here. Tonight, we have the honor of hearing from Dr. Tesfaye Telila, an extraordinary individual whose inspiring journey from Ethiopia to becoming a trailblazing interventional cardiologist in the United States is a testament to resilience, compassion, and an unwavering dedication to transforming lives. Born in Ethiopia, Dr. Tesfaye Telila nurtured a dream of becoming a physician from an early age. His determination led him to Addis Ababa University's Tukur Ambassa Hospital, where he graduated as a class valedictorian in 2008, earning a prestigious gold medal from the Ethiopian Medical Association. After serving as an assistant professor of medicine at Addis Ababa University, Dr. Telila pursued his dream of becoming a cardiologist in the United States. Over 14 years of rigorous training, he completed an internal medicine residency at Southern Illinois University and a cardiology fellowship at Wayne State University, where he served as a chief cardiology fellow. Dr. Telila later advanced his expertise with an interventional and structural cardiology fellowship at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. During his training, Dr. Telila's excellence shone brightly, earning him numerous awards for his dedication to teaching and patient care. He now holds board certifications in internal medicine, nuclear cardiology, echocardiography, cardiovascular disease, and interventional cardiology. Today, Dr. Telila serves as an interventional cardiologist at Piedmont Heart Institute in Atlanta, Georgia, where he combines his clinical expertise with a heartfelt commitment to community service. His work at the Healing Bridge Clinic provides free cardiology services to uninsured patients, ensuring that access to quality care is not a privilege but a right. Together with his wife, Dr. Obstinet Merid, Dr. Telila founded Heart Attack Ethiopia Incorporated, a nonprofit organization dedicated to establishing sustainable cardiovascular care in Ethiopia. Twice a year, he leads volunteer missions to Ethiopia, treating patients and training local medical professionals. Through these missions, they have saved over 120 lives by providing life-saving surgeries and treatments. Dr. Tesfaye's vision is clear: to ensure that life-saving cardiovascular care is accessible to all, transcending borders and socioeconomic barriers. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming a true embodiment of compassionate care and global impact, Dr. Tesfaye Telila.
Good evening. Thank you for that wonderful, wonderful introduction. It is so amazing to be here with you tonight as part of Heart Attack Ethiopia's founder and co-founder. First and foremost, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude and congratulations to YEP for 14 years of exceptional service, networking, community engagement, and leadership. As someone who, along with my wife, runs a nonprofit that is less than 2 years old, I can only imagine the dedication, resilience it takes to sustain such an impactful work for 14 years. On behalf of our board members and volunteers, I would like to thank YEP for this well-deserved recognition of 14 years. Please give them a round of applause for what they have done the last 14 years. My name is Tesfaye Telila, and for those of you who probably knew me from back home, I was Tesfaye Alamu Telila. Thanks to the US style of naming, my real father's name, Alamu, got kicked out of my name, and he's still complaining about it. Looking at the impressive roster of previous keynote speakers at the YEP Gala, some of you might be wondering who the heck this guy is. You're not wrong. If you haven't heard of me, I'm just a regular Ethiopian American with a heart larger than I can carry and a philanthropic brain that never stops spinning with ideas to solve problems of others. I hold no patent to my name. I made no scientific discoveries. I am no Gabisa Ejeta or Hemen Bekele of Ethiopia. But what I do have is a story, my life story, my journey, which I hope will resonate with your everyday life more than scientific discoveries. Like many of you, I was born and raised in Ethiopia. My early life was filled with challenges and struggles, but also resilience and determination. I was born in a small city called Bofa, as the fourth child to two loving parents. My mother, an amazing woman, is one of the hardest working people I have ever known. My father, a college graduate, one of the most generous and most philanthropic individual I have ever met. The guy is so giving that even the saying that you can't give what you don't have does not apply to him. When I was 2 years old, my father found a job in Adama, and we moved to Adama from the city of Bofa. In a relatively good middle-class life, in addition to his primary job in one of the manufacturing companies in Adama, he also joined the then Derg politics. He continued to help people day and night and build communities. Fast forward, 7 years later, when I was a 9-year-old boy, the Derg regime actually fell, and every single politician, including my humble father, was imprisoned without questions. Like many other Ethiopians, my father had no savings, and my mother, a housewife with only 6th grade education, she couldn't really know what to do with us. So she put us together in one single room and told us the truth. She said, "Listen up, boys. You either go out to be street boys, or you go with me back to grandfather's land in Bofa and to be farmers and shepherds." She made it clear that the priority was not really there. My oldest sister at the time joined college, and my oldest brother stayed in Adama to cook and provide meals for my father in prison. My older brother and I followed my mother to Bofa, while our two younger siblings had to stay the close friend in Adama because the environment was too harsh for them to go into. With a heavy heart and very few belongings, my mother, older brother, and I went out to Bofa. My brother and I became shepherds and farmers, despite having no idea what those roles actually entail. At the time, Bofa was actually a small village and had electricity and communal source of water. However, even to live in Bofa with a small village was very difficult for us to afford. So we had to live in the outskirts of Bofa, where there is no electricity, running water, and we had to walk long distances to school. The transition was a harsh reality that our young minds resisted painfully. We couldn't drink the dark river water, and at night we were terrified of the pitch black small hut barely illuminated by a single smoky gasoline lamp. For the first few weeks, my brother and I cried nearly every day. But my resilient mother wasted no time. She plunged into farming and managed to put food on the table. However, it was just enough for food, nothing else. So my brother and I, we had to stop going to school for 2 years. Interestingly enough, that was a kind of welcome news for me, as before all this happened, I never really enjoyed formal education. I found it boring and was essentially forced to go to school. Well, after 2 years of hard work and perseverance in Bofa as farmers as well as shepherds, a glimmer of hope arrived. My oldest sister graduated as a teacher, and she sent a word that she could afford to pay for our schooling to cover our expenses, mine and my older brother's. I still remember the small but significant sum of 50 birr that she sent, That money was a lifeline, a beacon of hope that brightened our path and offered us a chance to reveal our story. That opportunity reignited my curiosity for passion for learning. It taught me the value of education and the power of resilience. It reminded me of the importance of family, community, and the unyielding support they can provide even in the darkest times. As I stand before you today, reflecting on my journey from the outskirts of Bofa to this room filled with accomplished individuals, I am reminded of the strength we have as a community. It's the strength born to shared struggles and triumphs, from the determination to rise above circumstances and create a future filled with promise. Both my brother and I then returned to school. As harsh as it was, the 2 years without formal education taught us the power of appreciation and valuing what we had. Although I hated school before this experience, I came back as one of the most dedicated and hardest working students for the rest of my academic life. I never took anything for granted. I learned anything can be taken away from me at any time. And only thing that stays with me is my knowledge and my expertise. So, while I advocate for helping communities, I highly encourage every young person to invest in themselves, especially early on. When I returned to school as a fifth grader, the medium of instruction, as most of you may remember, has changed from Amharic to Afan Oromo. I spoke Afan Oromo well, but I had no idea how to write or read Afan Oromo. After 2 years of gap in my education, I returned to the fifth grade in less than ideal environment, and on top of that, I didn't know how to write or read Afan Oromo. With hard work and dedication, however, I quickly learned the letters and the alphabet, and the rest was history. I remained at the top of my class from the time I graduated from medical school. I was traumatized and frankly paranoid about losing what I thought I had for certain. As soon as we returned to Bofa, I got sick with severe form of malaria. My mother had taken me to Adama for diagnosis and treatment. I was so ill that my mother cried nonstop, pleading with the doctor to save my life. The doctor did what he could, and luckily I recovered. During our follow-up, my mother took me back to that same doctor, and in questioning, he asked what medications I was taking when I was sick. Unfortunately, my mother did not know which medications I was taking, but luckily I told him I was taking medication X, Y, and Z. The doctor was very surprised with my swift response, and he said, "Wow, this kid is going to become a doctor." I was happy, not because I knew what being a doctor entailed, but because the life-changing impact his words had on my mother. From then on, I wanted to become a doctor just to make someone's mother happy. Fast forward, I graduated high school in Adama and joined Addis Ababa University, subsequently earning my medical degree. My medical school experience was fairly uneventful. No one really knew my personal stories, but everyone wondered my measured and consistent dedication to science and patient care over the years. During my very first day in my clinical rotation at Addis Ababa University Black Lion Hospital, I encountered an 18-year-old young lady who had a major stroke. At the time, my young brain could not reconcile how and why would an 18-year-old young girl would develop a stroke. My attending physician then explained that if left untreated, a simple strep throat can damage the heart valves, leading to heart rhythm disturbance that can culminate in major stroke. Seeing that 18-year-old girl had and her family suffer was the moment that the idea of becoming a cardiologist was conceived in my novice heart and ambitious brain. Fast forward, 8 years of medical school came to an end. I graduated as the gold medalist in my class and named the best medical student of 2008 by the Ethiopian Medical Association. After graduation, I was graciously recruited as an assistant professor of medicine at Addis Ababa University. The transition from student to staff came with somewhat vague role at the university. I served in this position for a year and a half, and my passion for cardiology remained at an all-time high as I continued to see more patients with heart disease. I was overwhelmed by the lack of access to basic cardiovascular services. At the time, there was no formal cardiology training program in the country. Though discouraged by this fact, I chose to keep my eyes open for opportunities to make my dream a reality. In 2009, I met a woman. Her name is Sharon Ashton, a Canadian philanthropist who became like a second mother to me. She was bringing medical mission to Addis Ababa University at the time, just like what I'm doing now with my wife. As I facilitated medical mission, she took an interest in my work ethic and also my dedication to humanity. She genuinely saw something in me that I even did not see myself and decided to support my adventure to become a cardiologist in the US. The deal was for me to come to the US, become a cardiologist, then interventional cardiologist, and go back to Ethiopia to serve my people. Well, that's exactly what happened, except that I did not go back to Ethiopia. 15 years later, I am still in the US with a wonderful wife and 4 beautiful children. And over the last 7 years, I have carved out a very successful cardiology program and a charity clinic in the Metro Atlanta area. Here is my life's journey. I hope you learned something from it. Regardless of how you perceive my path, I want you to think of me for a second. If you define success as moving from point A to point B, where point B is more conducive for you and for your immediate family members than point A, where is really headed as a nation? I urge you to include your community in your definition of success. Today, cardiovascular disease is the #1 cause of death in the world, with over 18 million people dying globally per year. And the most disheartening fact of all this is that 80% of the mortalities occur in low and middle income countries like Ethiopia. Vast majority of these morbidities and mortalities happen due to heart attacks, stroke, and valvular heart disease. Just based on conservative estimates, in Ethiopia alone, there are 15,000 patients waiting for life-saving cardiac surgeries. So many young Ethiopians, like the one I saw in my first day of medical school, the 18-year-old girl, they're still waiting for you and me to do something about their condition. For my wife and me, redefining our success as something greater than ourselves was driven by our personal stories. My wife lost her older sister, Zinash, at a young age of 10 due to lack of access to healthcare. Zinash passed away while they were eagerly waiting for someone to arrive with a horse, as it was the only means of transportation to the nearest medical facility in Salale, Oromia. More recently, I lost my beloved uncle to heart attack, the same condition that I treat here in the US on a daily basis. So let's not confuse success stories with successful people. Yes, we've moved from point A to point B, And yes, point B is very conducive for us and for our families, but does that really make us successful while so many children are still facing the same harsh scenarios and realities that we faced at very young age? I will let you answer that question, but for my wife and I, it is easy. The answer is no. To that end, almost 2 years ago, Attack Ethiopia was born in USA as a non-profit organization focused on improving cardiovascular services in Ethiopia and beyond. Since our inception, we have mobilized an army of volunteers and conducted 2 very successful missions where we conducted over 120 life-saving cardiac surgeries and interventional cardiology procedures. We treated 120 patients, which doesn't really look like a big number when you look at it from a 15,000 number of patients that are waiting. However, we also started just over a year ago, and we touched 120 families, 120 sisters, 120 brothers, mothers, fathers, sons, and daughters. Our charity also has a unique flavor to it. Unlike the many wonderful charities before us, we don't believe in sustaining mission, but building local capacity, train the next generation of cardiovascular specialists and cardiac surgeons. In fact, our motto at Attack Ethiopia is, quote, "We do mission to end mission," close quote. As I draw my speech to a close, I wish to leave each of you with a thought that may provoke introspection and inspire action. To all Africans, I invite you to ponder this question. No matter how you define success, it is more achievable when we strive together than alone. What truly ails Africa today? Is it lack of knowledge, lack of education, access, money, or some of our challenges are in fact self-inflicted? I also have a message for the global community, especially Europe and North America. Africa today stands as a testament to humanity's ancient roots, with some of the oldest civilization known to history. It's also a continent of remarkable dynamism, being the fastest growing and youngest, with the majority of the population under the age of 25. While I cannot foresee if our planet Earth will ultimately thrive or if a multi-planetary civilization is imperative, I am certain of one thing, that if the Earth is going to succeed, it must do so with Africa. We cannot hope to achieve true progress while living over 1.4 billion individuals without fundamental access to healthcare and essential infrastructure. Our success is intertwined with Africa's. To African scholars in the continent of Africa, we must confront a difficult truth. Some of our wounds are in fact self-inflicted. It is time to awaken to this reality, seize internal conflicts, and unite. If we do not take responsibility for our destiny, no one else will. The challenges facing Africa should and must be addressed by Africans. Look beyond immediate grievances and solve your issues through dialogue and negotiations. War, initiated without deep consideration, carries devastating long-term consequences that are already ravaging some nations. To the African diaspora, to you, you are the beacon of hope and guidance for those that we left behind. Your support is crucial, regardless of local circumstances. You pose access to resources and opportunities beyond imagination. And our young nonprofit is a testament to that. Just in the last year and a half, we mobilized a resource of $1.7 million to support our people just by leveraging America. That way we reached to over 120 patients. However, more importantly, utilize advantages in the countries that you call home to bring back systems and innovations to your place of origin in whatever field you excel. Most importantly, identify and thrive on your areas of expertise and be well informed about the world. But please, please, please refrain from being a self-proclaimed expert on every issue that is happening in Africa, which will have lasting consequences on your people back home. Words have consequences. You are a doctor, a lawyer, a political analyst, and a politician with aspirations for office all at the same time. Perhaps it is time for you to evaluate your passion. You can't do it all and do it well. And to the African American brothers and sisters, the path to success at home. There is a proud reason why the term Africa precedes America in African American, a distinction not made for Americans of European descent. It serves as a reminder, in my view, that the ancestral home requires attention and healing. Therefore, if you are among the influential figures like the Tyler Perrys, Oprah Winfrey's, and Barack Obama's of the world, I implore you to extend your vision beyond local communities. Harness your power, wealth, and influence to positively impact Africa. And I genuinely believe that external recognition is hollow if the root is in turmoil. Africa is home for all, but especially for you. Finally, I cannot conclude this speech without expressing my incredible gratitude to my amazing wife and wonderful 4 children. I love you deeply. To my mother, you are my unwavering foundation, and my remarkable father, you are the most amazing person I have ever seen. Thank you, and have a wonderful night.